we're just gonna wait a few more minutes so everybody come to the room and enjoy the experience with us. We're gonna just so wait a few minutes more. We're gonna start at CAVE 3, and it's gonna be great. So thanks to being here. Do not hesitate to discuss into the conversation channel or to ask any question in the Q&A channel. And we will do our best to answer all your questions you have about Simvia or CAVE-aster user experience. So, as you can see, we will be free to present the today webinar, which is about the developer experience at Simvia, and we are really eager to show you what we worked on a few past weeks, and it's going to be great. The webinar is recorded, so you can access back to everything we will gonna say today and watch back again demonstration, installation tutorial, everything we will cover. You will be able to see it back on our YouTube channel. Okay, there is people coming. Just wait one last minute. So everybody gonna be here with us. Thanks to be here. Okay, I think we can start. And now, so thanks to join us to this webinar, which is VScode-aster and CAVE Rethinking the CAVE-aster user experience, which is about how do we improve the user experience and the developer experience at Simvia. And this is the first one of a series of technical webinar, which build about developer experience and user experience with CAVE-aster and other solvers. First, I'll talk you about the DevX, developer experience at Simvia. We chose the most popular one solver, which is CAVE-aster currently, which one we support. And we have worked on two principal products, which are CAVE and CAVE-aster VScode-aster. And obviously, all the Docker images about CAVE-aster, Code Saturn, OpenTeleMax, Salome, all these Docker images are available through the Docker Hub. So do not hesitate to use them and test every software you want. It's really easy to use. And as I said, today, we're gonna focus on the CAVE-aster side. So about CAVE-aster, we're gonna talk to you about CAVE, which is an easy way to run CAVE-aster on your computer, and VScode-aster, which I don't want to spoil everything, but you're gonna see it's pretty good inside of VS Code. First, Basile gonna talk to us about what we learned from our users through the years, and then gonna talk about CAVE and VScode-aster hands-on with me, showcase you how to install everything. Then we're gonna have some dev and tips tricks, and Ulysse is gonna talk to us about our DevX roadmap, and we will finish with the Q&A. So Basile, you can go on with your story.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here. So I will begin by a short personal story. I discovered CAVE-aster in 2012 during an internship at EDF R&D. During this internship, I worked on the interaction between offshore wind turbine and the soil, and I use CAVE-aster for this. At this time, the CAVE-aster version used was 11, and the Salome version associated is Salome version 6. Sorry, I'm not sure about the logo for this Salome version. I don't find the old logo. And the environment looked a bit different from what we have today. At that time, the typical workflow for CAVE-aster users was based on two main tools. The first one was Efficace. So Efficace, it's the graphical user interface to write a command file in CAVE-aster. It's a kind of helper in the graphical user interface and to define the com file with command and the rules available for each command, the keyword associated. And the other tools, which is a legacy tools, it's ASTK, the launcher. It's also a graphical user interface used to launch CAVE-aster computation. And for most of users, ASTK in your workflow. And these two tools was the standard workflow used by a lot of CAVE-aster users 10 years ago. The things start to change in 2017 with the Salome Mecha 2017 version. There is a new interface introduced in Salome, which is named Aster Study. And the goal of Aster Study was to provide more modern and integrated interface inside Salome Mecha. So I think you know well Aster Study, and the principle is to introduce the coupling between pre- and post-processing and CAVE-aster with a dedicated module, Aster Study in Salome, where you can prepare and set up your model, do the geometry, the mesh, and after set up the model with boundary condition, materials, all the stuff you need. Run the simulation directly in the Salome Mecha interface and post-process. So do the visualization of your result in the same environment. The idea was to have a more integrated solution, quite similar to solution distributed by commercial software like Abacus or ANSYS, whatever you want. So it's a good workflow, but the difficulty comes from the fact that in practice, many advanced users work in different way. They do not rely heavily on the graphical interface. They use flow and mainly kind of hybrid scripting workflow with a stack of some shell script and sometimes some dark magic using the awk or set command. You have the com files that people can write directly in their editor, text editor, and because in the com file you can add some Python command, so it's more easy for people to automate some application. There is some kind of batch execution for people who have some cluster, for example. And now we can also imagine some people that use artificial intelligence agent, like Claude, for example, to write their command file in CAVE-aster. And in this context, CAVE-aster becomes one component in larger workflow, and for example, in parametric study, automated pipeline, or HPC workflow. And in this scripting workflow, there is small, because the tooling ecosystem for people that don't use the Aster Study but use their text editor for command file, it's really poor, in fact. And you always, there is some difficulties that happen very often. It's not critical, but it's some difficulties that accumulated can lead to a loss of productivity. For example, if doesn't work. If I forget the name of a group of cell or my mesh, to have the information when I write my command file, I need to reopen Salome, go in the mesh module, import the mesh, visualize the group. It's a bit heavy. Or other things. If I know the name of command I want to use, for example, defi material, but I don't remember the exact syntax for one keyword, I need to go to the associated documentation on internet. I need to search the documentation, and it's a loss of time. And there is a missing tools to simplify the CAVE user experience at this stage. Another difficulties or another source of friction, it's related to the distribution and CAVE-aster. Because today the official distribution, it's okay. The official distribution is mainly based on the Salome Mecha singularity image available on the CAVE-aster website. And this image contains the full environment. It works well, but it also has some limitation, a bit large, because there is CAVE-aster and Salome, and some users don't want the Salome part, they only want the CAVE-aster part. The launch process of the image is not really clear for all users, because to have a fully operational installation, you need to process to a singularity run minus app install step that generate a Python script used to run the singularity image. It's a bit complicated sometimes and not really clear. And finally, some advanced users want to switch between several versions of CAVE-aster easily. And it leads generally to a kind of bash RCL with a mix of alias function that wrap some custom installation, and it's not really clear for all users. And every user made its own stuff to deal with version. Sorry. And the question is how to address these two major pain points. That's to say the environment management and the for CAVE-aster users. To do this, we developed two tools, in fact. And the first one is the CAVE. CAVE is for CAVE-aster version. It's a command line interface. And the goal of CAVE is just to help users to install, list, and switch between different CAVE-aster versions. It's also used to run computation. We will show in the live demos how to run computation using CAVE. And it's based on the Docker stack, and it uses the Docker image available in the Docker Hub Simvia account. And the second tool, it's VScode-aster. All is in the name. VScode-aster, it's a VScode-aster extension. It's a plugin for VSCode that allows a better user experience for people that use the scripting workflow in CAVE-aster. It offers some smart edition features to edit your com file, an helper a bit like ASTK in order to write your export file, and the possibility to run the compilation directly from VS Code in coupling with the CAVE, and also a mesh visualization tool. And both these tools are freely available, and the source code is on GitHub. and you can install it simply, as we will see just after with the demonstration for Luca.
Yes, with as Basile said, yeah, I'm gonna show you how to install these tools with a quick video I cooked you, and I'm gonna live comment it to show you how to install these tools. So we're in VS Code in the WSL system, and this first command is just about installing Docker. This installation is from Debian 12 installation, which is completely new and fresh installation. So the first thing is CAVE rely on Docker. So first thing you have to install Docker to install CAVE. Then once Docker is installed, as you can see, I add my user to the Docker group, which is the command recommended by user by Docker to allow running Docker command without typing sudo each time. Then I just have to tell new group Docker to, it's like sourcing your chassis for the groups. And then I can check it with Docker PS and I can see, okay, no, there is no error. So yeah, I installed it correctly. Then what I have to do is to go on the GitHub from Simvia, which I'm going to show you. And on the Simvia GitHub, you can have the CAVE installation documentation. And it's on the repository. And if you go just down below, you're going to have the feature and the installation. And we have the one-line installation, which is a quick install. And it works on Ubuntu, Debian, Fedora, Red Hat, CentOS, almost every distribution you could use, even on Alpine and non-RPM, not Deb, Debian-based distribution using the binary. Then you can just type CAVE, which is the name of the CLI, and you can see I have installed CAVE with only one line. So it's really easy to install, and to show which CAVE-aster version you can install, you can type CAVE available, and you can see there is a lot of available version. If I want to use like the last one, I can just say CAVE use and type which version do one I want to use, and it's just gonna download it alone. You don't have to do anything. You just type, yes, I want to download this version, and it downloads it. Yes, on this version, the video is speed up. I don't have such a good connection, unfortunately, but it's really just Docker image download. Then it's gonna expand it, and everything is done. Now we can use CAVE. But what if I want to install CAVE-aster in VS Code? I just have to look into the extension marketplace and search for CAVE-aster. Inside CAVE-aster, I have the install button, which is really easy, and done. I have installed CAVE-aster, but there is some dependencies I have to install myself as NumPy, PGLS, and metcoupling. So what I recommend you to do is to create a Python virtual environment. As you can see, I have Python 3 version 3.30, and I just sudo apt install Python dev for these things, for Python venv, which is Python 3. The version you're using dash venv. You install it? Yes. You download it, you install it. Then you create a virtual environment, which is Python 3. You execute a module which is venv, and you install it in the whatever directory you want to use. And to activate it, you have to source it. So source venv /bin/activate. Then you're in your virtual environment. You just have to type pip install setup reels and pipe, of course, and you can install NumPy. After installing NumPy, you can install PGLS. And finally, you can install med coupling. Okay, everything is set up now. We have installed med coupling. There is only one last thing to check it out together, but VScode-aster should look into that by himself. But if you find out that VScode-aster do not find by himself the Python path you just installed, you can set it by yourself. How? You gather the path to your Python path, then you go to CodeAster settings, and under the VScode-aster Python execution path, you can set up right here by yourself. But as you can see on this demonstration, CodeAster find it out by himself. And now, if I just drop a demonstration folder, you're gonna see everything gonna be set up right. If I go to my test folder and I check it out, my demonstration.com, as you can see, there is a logo CodeAster on the .com. And if I click on it, I have color action syntax, which is really helpful for every developer that do the .com. And I can preview the model directly in VS Code, which was a big work for us. And as you can see, I have installed everything in just a few minutes. So I hope you will be a lot to install this extension. And now Ulysse gonna talk to you about CAVE and VSCode. No, sorry, Basile gonna show us CAVE and VSCode-aster demonstration. And Basile, how you go?
Up, I will share my screen. Up. Okay, so I take a test case from the CodeAster test base. It's the same case as Luca. So I open it. Okay, so I open my VS Code. I have all the setup as explained by Luca previously. So you can see, okay. I have my com file with the CodeAster logo, an export file, and the met file. When I open my com file, so I have the syntactic color, and you see when you start you open a com file, you have a message LSP Python CodeAster ready. That's to say the language server protocol is started in VS Code. And you have some functionalities, like for example, if I put my mouse on some function, CodeAster operator, I have some help in French, sorry, about the function. So we see the lire maillage, it's the function to read, and you have the list of keyword arguments. So you find the format keyword, verify. And you have all the syntax documentation related to this command. It works for all the commands. You have, for example, AFK-relay. For some commands, you have a lot of help because some commands have a lot of options. But you have this kind of help which simplifies the process, because if I don't remember, for example, in defi function, the name of interpol, if there is an E at the end or not, I have directly the name of the argument. As described by Luca, you have the logo with the eye here, and you can visualize the mesh. In the first, at the first time, the mesh, the met file, is converted in fact in an obj file. It's a kind of, it's another structure in fact. And that's why we need med coupling, in fact, in the installation, because to convert the med in obj, we need to use med coupling. And you have a visualizer where you can look your mesh, and you have also the list of group with the group ma, so the group of cells with the kind of plane icon here, and the group of nodes with the little nodes on the left. And if we select some group, we have visualization where the associated group is colored and there is the opacity of the wall mesh is changed to see the group, and it's really efficient if we have some hidden group inside the structure. And in terms of shortcuts with the scroll, you can zoom in, zoom out viewer, and with the shift click, it's just to drag the structure in the plane, and with the drag and drop without shift keyboard, you rotate in the viewer. You can select multiple groups, or if I select a lot of groups, I have a lot of information, a bit more. And we can, if we have made a lot of selection, we can clear the selection. I return to the initial configuration. And if you have a lot of groups, you can select also the group to visualize with this menu, with the whole group defined in the mesh. You have also an interaction between the COM file and your mesh visualization. That is to say, if I go in the affichar mecha function, I see I have a liaison. Yes, with this affichar mecha, I have DDL import, and I can see, for example, the DDL import. Just hide this one. If I select the name of a group in the COM file, associated group is highlighted in the viewer. So I see that the groupma where I fix the 3 degrees of freedom, XYZ, this group here. The same thing for other group. Here I fix the X dogs here. So we can select it's. This feature is available for all the COM file. So if I go in the liaison my, I see that there is a group my slave set group and the master slave group associated. And if I select all the line, the two groups, the related two groups are highlighted in the mesh viewer. And you see in this case, some groups have the same name between node group and set group. So we have two group highlights. So now when we write our COM file, we have some help. I will show you there is some kind of auto-completion also. And if I want to run this computation, I need to write the export file or modify the export file. I have an already defined export file, but we have also a kind of editor that is a bit similar to the older SDK, but in more modern stack, where you can specify the execution parameters. So there is a file name, a time limit, memory limit. It's just a subset of all parameters available in complete export file, but we estimate that this subset is sufficient for main of users. And after, we specify the input files and the output files. So for example, if I want to add an output file to save the made result, I can add an output file where I select RMED, I put a name, I put RMED, and you see there is automatically the unit associated. After I click on create, and the export file is updated. And if I go back to my COM file, oops, sorry. So I say I want to add the impro resu. So when I start to write a command, I have an auto-completion with all the CAVE-aster command available. So you see there is the impro table resu, je veux, gêner, fonction. So I want the impro resu. And after, I have the list of available arguments. For the moment, I don't specify the format, so I only have few arguments. But if I write that I want format med, you see I have a lot of arguments because the autodoc of operators depend on the context. And it follows the rule of the syntactic rule of CAVE-aster. After, I can specify the unit and I have to put the resultat equal calcul. So now I have a COM file with the output result, and I can run the computation. We have directly in the VS Code. In VS Code, if you write Ctrl-Shift-P, you have access to the command panel. And you see there is a command run with CAVE-aster. If I write just CAVE-aster, you have the run with CAVE-aster command. So if I try to run the COM file, it failed, and you see, because it says the active file is not an export file, and it's classical with CAVE-aster stuff. So I open my export file, and I do the same. And now, you see, at the first run, I have an error because I don't specify the version to use globally in the system. So to set a global version I want to use with CAVE, as said by Luca, the CAVE command is CAVE use, and after I put the, for example, set 17 to 1. And here there is no download because I already download the Docker image associated to keep time. And after I can restart my computation, run with CAVE-aster, and you see directly normally, if it starts, yes, you have the CAVE-aster output. It's similar to what you have when you use your CAVE-aster in terminal. Just reduce a bit. Oh, perfect. It's not too long normally. And so I have the complete log directly in my Visual Studio Code. And it's a bit long because teams take some resources. And we will see with CAVE, we can easily switch between versions. So I have my output that is created here, the mess. And in the mess file, you see I use the 17.2.1 version. And if I want to specify locally for this computation, for this folder, a different CAVE-aster version, I can use the CAVE pin version, pin subcommand, and pin to the 17.4.0, the last stable version. Also, I downloaded previously, so it's direct. And if I run again my computation, I can run the computation directly in the terminal also if I want. I just write a CAVE run in the export file, and it works perfectly.
So while it runs, Basile,
Yes.
as you've shown us, this is a complete ecosystem in VS Code. It's not just a small adapter. Everything is linked together, and the developer experience is complete across all the files. So it's easy to run your demonstration from your project directly within VS Code, like a true IDE for CAVE-aster, right?
Yes, it's totally integrated. You can also specify, for this example, we use the VScode-aster extension coupled with the CAVE version manager. But if you have some specific installation without CAVE, you can also point the CAVE-aster extension to your local installation of CAVE-aster. It's something that you can change in the VS Code settings. But by default, if you use CAVE and VS Code-aster, all is completely integrated. By default, the VS Code-aster extension are made to use CAVE, but you can change with other CAVE-aster installation. So you can specify also, for example, the AS-run command or the run-aster command if you are a bit modern. And now you see I have rerun my computation after I have made the CAVE pin version. So if I look in the mess file, now the version used is the stable version, 17.4.0. And I switch version really easily. And it's all for the demonstration. And now I will. Now it's Ulysse that will speak about the future of these tools.
Yes, thank you, Basile. I will bring up the presentation again if I can find it.
I do it for you.
Oh, thank you.
It's coming. You can just start what you're going to talk about. Yeah, okay. You got it.
Yeah. We'll skip to my slides. Okay. So thank you everyone for being here. I'm happy to present you our roadmaps for both tools, CAVE and VScode-aster. So first, CAVE, what's next? We are looking to add a CAVE shell command which should enable you to have an interactive shell session directly inside your Docker container, which permits you to access the entire toolset of the image rather than just using CAVE-aster by itself. We're also looking to add CAVE init, which again, one command to set up an entire CAVE-aster project with the correct file structure, folder structure, Git repository initialization. We are also adding a Claude Markdown file for AI-assisted workflows. And finally, one more thing, we're looking to add support for Podman for the runtime of CAVE. So it's to let the choice for people that cannot use Docker in their infrastructure. They will be now able to use Podman instead. Same for images. We're looking to add support for both Singularity and Aptainer images. Same in case you cannot use Docker locally. So that's it for CAVE. Now, I will do a quick recap about what we did with VScode-aster in early 2026. So we released 4 versions, one of which is a pre-release only. To make it quick, these versions mostly added support for more Python versions, meshes, more file extensions are now handled, and some minor other stuff. Quick note about the 1.3 version. This one is only available as a pre-release. So to install it, you go on the extension tab on VSCode, and you click a small arrow drop down and click switch to pre-release version. This version is the only one currently that supports combined Python and common languages at the same time. But there are many issues with the implementation that is yet supported, which is why it's only available as a pre-release. So I recommend you to only use it if you really need both languages to be supported at the same time. We also reached 200 downloads, which is a nice number. And I'm happy to announce you that we just released the 1.5 version of VScode-aster that I like to call the Rainbow Viewer, which, as you can see, is a major visual update of the viewer. So now it matches your VSCode theme. Only dark themes are shown in the GIF, but you can see on my webcam background also light themes work. We rework the help pop-up that has now more tabs and easier to navigate, more tooltips. We added the settings pop-up with mostly rendering options to improve performance or make it display things that you only want to see. Working on multiple meshes has been made easier with notably coloring. One mesh is now one color, as you can see here. The sphere is blue and the cube is green. You can hide meshes you don't need. Also, when you have multiple viewers open at the same time, selecting a command file will bring to the front the corresponding viewer. There were also major under-the-hood changes for the viewer. We switched from pure HTML and JavaScript to Svelte, which should enable us to more quickly update the extensions. There's also plenty more new things in this version that I will let you find out by yourself. So what's next with the extension? A few things. First, we're looking to add graphical model validation, which is basically arrows to visualize the forces applied on the meshes, also visualizing the boundary conditions. We're looking to add stdout parser for the CAVE runs that you do, CAVE or CAVE-aster. We are looking to add to integrate the output basically directly in the problem tabs of the extension of VS Code. We're looking to improve the language server so it's more robust, it's more stable, and as I said earlier, once we have a more satisfying solution for combining Python and CAVE-aster commands, we will add it to the main release branch. Finally, we're also looking to improve the export file form, UI, and UX. So that's it about the roadmap, and I will let Luca go on with the presentation.
Yes, thank you. So it's going to be the quick Q&A part. We're going to start with the oldest question that have been asked today. So thanks to be here and thanks for the question. The first one was the information that was displayed if you hover a command in the COM file was in French. Is it also available in English? So currently, no, it's not supported yet. But as I said yet, feel free to open an issue on our GitHub and to ask this development. It's going to be taken consideration, and we'll look further into how to integrate English into this COM help, because yes, of course, one of the major difficulty for CAVE-aster, if you're not French speaker, is the COM file is in French, and so on. It's more difficult if you do not talk French, and we'll look into that. So feel free to open an issue on our GitHub. Maybe someone can just drop you the GitHub link into the conversation. Adrien asked us, does the visualization tool is light or need relative strong computer spec? It's depend on the mesh side, I guess, but in general, yes, obviously it depends on the mesh size. It's not the same with a sample cube and million size mesh, but it's the best we can do because VS Code is basically a browser in your computer. It's a Chrome-based application, which are named Electro. And we use the most state-of-the-art 3D visualizer, which allow us to see really big mesh into the VS Code. Honestly, it's really powerful. You can see quite big mesh easily and without too much power. And Basile, Basile, you can showcase how you can see a big mesh in the extension?
Just to add, if you have some issues with performance, you can go to the settings of the viewer and turn off and on some settings to improve that.
Yeah, I think Basile can show us
Yes, I
a
have
bigger mesh showcase.
Yes, I have one. I just share my screen. Okay, I found another one. So I have a CAVE-aster computation and the engine blade turbine. And you see this mesh, it's a really fine mesh. In terms of degrees of freedom, it's 1 or 2 million degrees of freedom, I don't remember. And you see it's really, really, there is no lag, in fact, in the viewer. Yes.
Just to complete you, because I think some people will online see some latency, but it's only Microsoft Teams latency. I can assure you, locally it works perfectly smooth. It's because of the video streaming.
Yes, and in fact, the strategy and to have a smooth rendering is when we convert the med file into the obj data structure. In fact, we extract only the skin of the mesh. So you only have the skin of your mesh, and it's like in ParaView. In ParaView, when you render the mesh, you only extract the skin, and it's the same strategy here to have a smooth rendering.
Thanks, Basile. And if we go on with the next question, it's about great tools. Thanks for the comments. And can CAVE be used to build a personal version of CAVE-aster and run it? Yes, you can. You just have to rebuild the Docker, the tool, the CAVE-aster you want into a Docker image and tag it with CAVE compatible tag, and it's gonna work out of the box. Again, feel free to ask a question on the GitHub, and maybe Basile can provide you a quick tip about how to do it yourself. It's really easy and relatively out-of-the-box experience. And the question from, sorry, I just lose from Fabio, yes? No, sorry, Faria Guillaume, you asked, is it possible to simulate 1D structure at truss in VScode-aster today? Currently, I do not think so. There is some comments. 2D structure, yes, is supported, but 1D is not supported yet. And as I said, is yet. So if you ask an issue on the GitHub, we'll look further into that, because for everyone, feel free to ask any issue on the GitHub, because we are really user-driven company, and if you ask anything on the GitHub, it's not like 100% sure we're gonna cover it, because we have a lot of to do, but it's really good indicator for us about where do we want to put our developer on the work, and if there is plenty of users that want something, obviously we will work on. Fabio Maman asked, hello, is there a plan to switch and or provide an English not like vocabulary? It depends if you talk about the .com or the English tooltip you can see. For the French tooltip. About the French tooltip, there is some things we think about the .com. I do not think it's gonna be on our end, because it will depend on the CAVE-aster development team. But I think the best one, like every time, push an issue to our GitHub, and it's gonna be really easier to keep you track about how we can help you with that. I have we have so much question. How integrated VScode Copilot on the development in terms of using CAVE as well development module in the backend? I think maybe Basile, you can answer this question. Question from Killigan Nan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So about Copilot, or for Copilot, I don't know, but for example, if you use Claude or something similar, the Claude agent can directly launch the CAVE in your terminal. So you can imagine an autonomous mode where Claude writes some COM file, and personally I already tried Claude to write some COM file, and not bad. It works a bit, not always, but it works. And if you explain to Claude how to launch the CAVE, how to use CAVE to run CAVE-aster, it will work. Because by default, if you say nothing, Claude try to launch the ASRun command, the old interface, in fact. But yes, you can interface Claude and Claude or Copilot, I think, also with CAVE and CAVE-aster.
Thanks, Basile. And the two last question. I've seen that you are in factor keyword. No syntax proposition are made into the VScode-aster extension. Will it be possible? I think this has been covered. Like when we said we're gonna go further in the language syntax server. There will be more and more support about keywords.
Complete a bit, Luca. Yes,
right now there is not 100% support on the keyword, but we're gonna work on to support more and more keyword in the .com files.
Yes, Luca?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to complete, in theory, it's yes, it's feasible because in fact, in the backend of the VScode-aster extension, there is a part of Aster study. So if we use the CAVE-aster catalog directly in the VScode-aster, so we have the information, but this level of information is not interfaced today with the VScode-aster extension, but we can have the information.
Okay, thanks. There is some more question, but we're gonna have to end right now because the time is done. Thanks a lot for being here. It was a pleasure. And for the question remaining, do feel free to send an email to Simvia contact email, which is contact@simvia.tech, and feel free to put any issue on the GitHub from CAVE or VScode-aster. It was a pleasure to be with you today, and really happy that our development help you. And as I said, we are developer focused and user focused. So really, you are important for us. Feel free to ask on our GitHub, and we're really open to work with you. So thanks everyone to be here. Thanks Basile, and thanks Ulysse, and have a great day, everyone. The video gonna be available through our YouTube channel. We'll send you everything back. Thanks, and see you next time.